All right. What's going on? Hello. If you're joining, let me get my volume sorted out there. Peter Moriarty here. Welcome to the channel. If this is your first time, I am doing another live Q&A where I answer as many questions as I can until I run out of energy, which is usually about an hour or an hour and a half. If you want to ask a live question, you can do that at ask.peter.tv. I'll see if I can actually put that up there. I'm not even sure if I can get a title up. I don't know. I won't worry about that today. But I'll pop that in the chat. Please say hello if you're on the live. We've got a bunch of people on the live. So jump in, say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. That would be great. And I'll see if I can bring up my chat window here. I don't know if I've got a chat window. Let me see if I can find comments. Can I find comments? I don't know. All right, I'll see. Maybe it'll pop up if you add a comment. So say hello, add a comment, and I will drop in a link if I can. Yes, I found it. All right. Ask.peter.tv. There we go. Drop in and say hello. And if you head to that page, ask.peter.tv. Oh, here we go. It's giving me an error. It's not even loading now. First rule of demos is they never work. That's pretty funny. Maybe do it without the www. See if that works. Yeah, there we go. Okay, cool. So just ask.peter.tv without the www, and or you can jump on this direct link that I'm going to send here. You can ask a question live, and I will answer as many of the live ones as I can. I've always got a backlog, so there's a big backlog of questions that I'm going to try and get through. But we also have your live questions as well that I'll ask. And today we're focusing on Google Workspace. So if you're new to the channel, we help business owners with their tech, specifically helping you systemize, organize, and scale using a number of different technology tools. So whether that's Google Workspace, whether that's Asana, whether that's Hiver, whether that's Copper CRM, whether that's Zapier for automations, we're here to help you grow, scale, build more productive teams, automate things in your business, automate processes, and basically get things working nice and smoothly for you. And we do that primarily using Google Workspace. That's what we're very well known for. We're the top Google partner in Australia for small business, which is pretty cool. And we have customers all over the world, 25,000 customers, 15 plus countries. And I'm very, very proud of how many small business owners that we support all over the world. So if you want to learn about anything to do with tech and business, you're in the right place. So if you want to ask a live question, jump on live, ask a live question. I'm going to say hello to some people who have said hello. We have Adrian watching from Nashville in Tennessee in the US. Welcome. Thanks so much for joining us, Adrian. We have a big crowd in the US now, which is pretty awesome. We are a humble little Australian business. Well, not really little anymore, but a humble Australian business now with customers all over the world. So very, very glad to have everybody here, no matter where you are joining from. All right, well, I may as well jump in. This is where your questions are going to show up if you ask me a question on my little share board here. Let me just switch to my screen. There we go. And I'm going to answer as many questions as I can. So let's go ahead and go. I'm going to say, all right, let's go to the popular questions. Okay, so someone has asked how to enable multi-send mode in Gmail. Now, I don't know exactly what that is, but I'm going to assume they're talking about sending from multiple email addresses. So let's go through how to set up sending from multiple email addresses in Gmail. That one's pretty straightforward. And to do that, we're going to jump into our Gmail inbox, and we're going to go into our settings. Now, you can see here, I actually don't see my inbox when I open up my mailbox. I have to click the show inbox button here. That's because I'm using a groovy little plugin here, which actually hides my inbox. And what that does is it lets me choose to see my inbox or not see my inbox, but it doesn't distract me when I go into my Gmail. I've just forgotten the name of what it's called. Inbox when ready. There we go. So there's a little side tip. And my editors can probably cut that out of the tutorial. But Inbox When Ready is the tool there. If you want to go and Google Inbox When Ready, you'll find that. And it just hides your Gmail until you're ready to see it, which is very cool. Okay. So in order to send from multiple email addresses, we're going to go into our settings inside Gmail, and we're going to go to See All Settings. And I believe it's under Accounts. Yeah, here we go. So we're going to go to Accounts, and that lets me choose which accounts that I would like to send from. Now, you do have to have this enabled in your administrator settings. So if you haven't had it enabled in your administrator settings, you'll first need to do that in the admin panel. That's pretty straightforward. To go to the admin panel, you go to admin.google.com, and it's going to ask you to re-authenticate, which I'm going to do here. Oh, and of course my LastPass has signed out. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and sign back into my LastPass, and I bet you it's going to ask me for two-factor. Of course it is. Okay, let me do that quickly. Again, first rule of demos, right? They don't work. Let me go and accept this here. Okay. Let's try one more time. Oh, and now it's asking me, all right, well, this is getting very frustrating here. Mind me for 1 second, I'm going to have to go and cut and paste from another browser tab. Let's do that. Oh no, it's literally signed me out everywhere. Thank you, Google. Okay. This is going to take some time, but that's all right, guys. I'm going to have to do this to be able to continue, so let me do that. Something very interesting going on with my LastPass. Hey, and it's finally let me sign in. Okay. All right, back to our program. So we're logged into our admin panel, and the easiest way to get to settings is typically to search inside the admin panel. So I'm just going to run a search for Gmail settings, and then I can open up my Gmail settings here. And I'm going to go into, I presume it would be user settings. And let's see if we can find allow users to send from other email addresses. No, that doesn't appear to be in that menu. That's okay. Let's go back to Gmail settings. No, that's definitely not the one. Okay, let's try another search. Send mail as. Okay. So notice if you can't find something, searching usually helps you to find it. Let me see in here. Mail delegation. Isn't that interesting? I can't actually find the policy. Okay, well, it's very possible there is not a policy for this. Okay, in that case, you can expect that this is going to be switched on by default, and that's okay. Cool, so let's keep moving. So to set up a mail to send from, we're going to click on to add another email address, and we're going to choose, wow, let's try again. All right, something really funny going on with my accounts this morning. Okay, so we're going to click on to add another email address, and we're going to choose any email address we would like to send from. Now, I'm going to send from my alternative email address. The treat as alias button, I usually just use this, leave this ticked. It still confuses me exactly what that one means. I can never really understand it. Oh no, I think we need to leave that unticked. And I'm not sure that's why it's asking me for SMTP. settings, because I shouldn't need those to send from Google, because that's a Google address. Okay, very odd. Usually if you're sending from a Google address, it won't ask you for these email settings because it should know that it's actually sending from a Google-based address. So I'm going to leave that one. I'm going to move on. I think the universe is telling me that's a question not to bother with. And sorry to say, we won't cover that one today. All right, cool. Oh, we got lots of questions coming through live. Thanks so much for joining. Lisa is asking one about Confluence. I'm going to come to that. Okay, is there a shared contact list that we can use as a CRM? And Adrian said, oh, my camera's blocking. Okay, cool. Thank you. When I'm doing the demos, I'll remove my camera. Thanks for the heads up on that. Cool. All right, let's handle a live question. You get priority because you're actually here and live. Hello, Ali. Oh, our #1 fan on the live streams. Thanks so much for joining. Great to have you here. Okay, so Confluence versus Google Sites for documentation. So we very recently put a video up on the channel about this very question, but I'll cover it again very quickly. You have the option when you're creating documentation, whether that be an intranet, whether that be a wiki, whether that be how-to guides or anything else that you want to use internally for your business to document systems, processes, or how-tos. You basically got a very simple choice. You can either go with Google's internal tools, so that would be Google Sites, or you may choose to use an alternative. Now that might be Confluence, it might be a dedicated intranet app. There's a number of different options out there. You might use something specifically for storing systems and processes and SOPs. There's one called Guru, which is really popular, which kind of lives in a browser tab add-on. And effectively what you're choosing between is, do I want to do this the Google way, or do I want to find something that's dedicated? Now, if you want to do it the Google way, it's going to be cheaper because you're just using Google's system, right? Google's ecosystem, you've already paid for the licenses, so it doesn't cost you any extra. With the Google way, you're going to get better integrations as well. So things like when you're building out a Google site, you can have data embedded really easily into the site, whether that's a Google Drive folder, whether that's a calendar, all of those live update. You can still embed those into other apps, but not all of them support all of the Googly features. So the integrations are going to be better. Number 3, security is going to be better because you can lock down to Google or Google-based groups, right? So your Google security groups that you've created in your admin panel, you can add them to a Google site. So certain groups of users can have access to certain features. And then you have the 4th reason why it would be useful to use Google. I think that's probably it for now. Okay. So what would be the advantages of using something that's not Google, Confluence, Guru, or another third-party solution? Well, that would be things like you have a dedicated app, and so there's a dedicated place to go. Not everyone necessarily thinks, I need to go to my intranet, so I'll go to a Google site. You usually have to train your users to go into Google Drive, find the site, get the URL, put it in their bookmarks bar. You could always put it in a policy if you wanted to. But effectively, you then have one place to go to. But if it's an external app, your team are more likely to go there just because they're going to remember that, oh, that's in Confluence, and so they'll go there for the intranet. Number 2 is you're going to get more features. So Google Sites is pretty basic, and any third-party app is going to give you a lot more in-depth features. If you want to use something like Confluence or Guru, you're going to have the ability to link between different tools, between different pages. You're going to have the ability to potentially have a little bit more, let's say, workflows on your individual documentation. So maybe you have a status of that document. Maybe the status is this is being drafted versus this is in production versus this needs an update, right? You don't have those statuses when you're working with Google. If you want to really go to town and go for something very advanced, like using Notion, not the most advanced tool itself, but pretty advanced in terms of if you're implementing a wiki. Something like Notion is like a mini database, and you could have all kinds of custom fields on any wiki or intranet page that you're using, and you can link between rich data on the pages as well. So if it's something like a to-do list, you can have that live synchronized to appear in multiple pages. If you have a whole bunch of different pages on a particular topic, you can link all of those to that topic, and then you open the topic page and you'll see all of the subpages or all of the linked pages that are related to that topic. So those kind of apps act a bit more like a relational database, whereas Google Sites is really just a website tool that we happen to be using for an intranet when we're documenting processes. So I hope that's useful in making the choice. My honest recommendation is if you're a small business and you've got less than 10 staff, the best place to start is just Google Sites. If you're just getting started out and you haven't got anything right now, you can get started with Google Sites and you can always cut and paste and upgrade to something else later if you need to. Setting up an intranet is not the same level of technical debt that you would have if you were, for example, rolling out a CRM system. When you roll out a CRM system and you have a lot of heavily structured data, think, you've got a personal record and you've got notes against that record and you've got how many phone calls you've made and how many emails you've sent. Transitioning that from one system to another system is an absolute nightmare because you often have to rebuild those individual notes and a multi-relational database, which is really hard. But if you're using Google Sites as the first tool, well, it's quite simple because it's just pretty much a collection of pages. And yes, it has some page structure, but you're effectively, just using pretty basic pages. And yeah, sure, you may have some information linked in like a Google Doc or a Google Drive folder, but they still exist in Google Drive or in Google Docs. So if you were to switch or migrate from Google Sites over to Confluence or from Google Sites over to Notion, it's mostly going to be cut and paste. It's not going to be too difficult. Whereas if you had a multi-relational database, let's say you started with Confluence or you started with Notion and you wanted to try and switch to Google Sites, well, that would be much harder. So if you're just starting out, my recommendation is Google Sites. And honestly, it goes pretty far. We've got a pretty large team and we still use Google because we don't like the subscription overwhelm of using too many apps outside of the Google ecosystem. So we reduce that as much as possible. But also we try and get everything done in the Google way so we can show that it can be done even if you have a large business. Okay, great question. Love that one. Thank you so much. Right, cool. So let me look for another question in our questions list. Oops, that's the wrong one. Cool, all right. Okay, shared Google Drives, no folders in My Drive. Can you teach us how you name your files in order to make sure things are easily searchable and organized without folders? Okay, that's an interesting question. My philosophy is very much to use folders so that you have a structure to fall back on if you can't find a file. It's pretty easy to name files in a way that is searchable, and I'll go and show you an example of that. Let me go to my screen here. I'm going to open up my Google Drive. My Google account is doing all kinds of strange things today. So I'm here inside my Drive. And from here, let's say I want to search for files related to Bootcamp, because we run lots of boot camps with our customers, right? I can just search for the word bootcamp and it's going to show me all of those files. Okay, cool. That's pretty easy, pretty straightforward, right? It's going to show me the location that they're in. I often use dates in reverse order to just signify, okay, if I'm doing 5 boot camps over the course of the year, I want to be able to designate which is which. So I put the date of the boot camp at the start. So let's have a look at maybe searching for that date, and I'll be able to find all files that I've named against that date. So that one was, what was that? 24/10/31. Oh, that's the upcoming one. So it's probably not much. That's okay though. 24/10/31. All right, cool. So we've got a few files here, just 2 files that have been created for that so far. But once it's finished, we'll probably have things like the video recording of the event. We'll have any additional files, like maybe a feedback form that would probably have the date in it as well. So searching is pretty straightforward. The other thing I love about searching inside Google Drive is they've brought up these little search chips here, so it makes it nice and easy. I might say, okay, well, show me stuff that's owned by me. So only show me files that are owned by me. That's pretty easy to drill down in your searches. And then if I want to use the advanced search, well, I can get into some pretty darn advanced stuff. The one I use the most is the type search here. And so that's, if I'm looking just for a presentation, I would search just for presentations, and that's going to open it up here. Now, all of that is pretty easy to search for and find files within Google Drive. But I do not recommend you completely get rid of your folder structure, because folders are important in a very specific use case. Now, folders I use when I need to find a file and I don't know what it's called. You see, we've got a larger business now, and we have many different areas of the business. We've got sales, we've got marketing, we've got finance, we've got project delivery, we've got support, we've got the executive team, and other people are creating files, and not everyone is as diligent as you in saving files with correct names, right? In making it useful to find them or making them searchable. So folders, in my opinion, are still very useful for that moment where someone else has created a file, you don't know what it's called, and you want to go and find it. So my example of that is here in my shared drives. I'll open up my shared drives on the left-hand side, and you can see where I've got all of the different areas of the business, and they each have their own shared drive. So you can see here we've got finance, UpLevel, which is a specific project, Attract is our marketing team, Excite is our sales team, Engage is our account management team, Deliver is our project team, Support is our customer support team. We've then got a few internal folders there, so you can see HR goes into team admin. When we run a conference with our team, that goes into conferences. And our training file is where we put all of our training materials. So all of our SOPs, our training videos, and all of that sits into team. We've also got, it looks like an old one there, ready to be merged. So what that does is that gives each area of the business a logical area to put files, so that not only are they organized, so someone knows where they are and someone can actually find them when they need them, but also so the security settings only shares them with people who should have access to those files. If I go in and open up the Attract shared drive here, you can see all of the files and folders that our marketing team needs, right? And so if someone has a file that they've created and they just need to plonk it somewhere, if they're on the marketing team, they're going to be putting it here in the marketing folder. Now, this folder might be a little bit messy. That's just the reality of running a business, right? Not everyone's going to have perfectly organized Google Drive files or folders unless it's someone's job that's designated to do that. But what you are going to find is that when you have one place to put these, you'll see that the Attract team is only shared with certain groups inside the business. So contractors, that's a security permissions group. They can contribute, so it means they can put files in but not delete them. Executive is obviously the manager. They can do everything they want. You have the Attract team. That's our marketing team. They can add files but not delete them. We've got a couple of other exec teams here. And then Team Genius, which is everyone in our company, they all sit inside that team. They have view-only access. And that means that, okay, anything in marketing, anyone in the company can see, but they can't necessarily edit things. And so it means that, like, if there's a slideshow that someone needs to see, if there's something that someone needs to review that we've produced as marketing material, it's available for everyone to view this whole shared drive. So that's the beauty of using files. It's really when you're in a situation where you need to find something but you don't know what it's named, when it's really useful to use that. But I can totally understand not wanting to bother having a million files and folders in a very deep structure. There's a general rule, I don't know who made it up, but you should not go more than 3 folders deep when you're creating a folder structure. My personal preference is you have the shared drive set up as mandatory, you have the correct permissions set up as mandatory, and we actually have that set up. We have that video in our channel. If you want to go and search for Google Drive or sharing settings in our channel, we've got a tutorial on how to set up your folders and then how to set up your shared drives as well, so they're in this format. And then once you've done that, you just need to train your team on anything they share to put it in a shared drive. That's the most important thing. We've got a rule, and that's no one uses the blue button. You never share a document manually. You only put documents into your shared files and your shared drives, and then when you put it in a shared drive, it's automatically shared with the right people, and the wrong people don't have access to it. Very important tip, but good question there. Going to mark that one as answered. Okay, so if you're just joining, I can see lots of people are on the live. Thank you so much for being here. If you're just joining, please say hello. Let me know where you're watching from. Would love to know. And I'd also love to know, how long have you been watching the channel for? Are you brand new? Have you just come across the channel? Have you been watching for months or for years? We've got some of our customers who I've been doing business with for, nearly 20 years now, which is pretty crazy. I started this business when I was a teenager, literally riding my push bike down the street from customer to customer. I was only 15 years old. I didn't have a car, and I would put flyers in people's letterboxes, and then I would go and help them out with their computers. It might be uninstalling a virus. It might be upgrading their RAM so they could have a faster computer. It might be putting in a bigger hard drive. They're all the things that I started doing, and I just basically wanted to help people. And that business, essence, that value, that culture of our business has remained for the last 20 years, which is pretty crazy. And so, yeah, it's now a large business, and we have customers all over the world, which is way past my wildest dreams that I thought would happen when I was just helping people with their computers as a kid. But here we are. So wonderful to have you here. Ryan from Miami, new viewer. Thanks so much for joining. Adrian, watching for about a month now. New role as a workspace admin coming from the Microsoft 365 world. Awesome. Wonderful. Well, I'd love to know, what are some of the basic questions that you might have, Adrian, or non-basic questions that you have in that transition? If you're moving from the Microsoft world, I'd love to know, what are your burning questions on how to do things in the Google world? Thanks so much for being here. All right, I'm going to jump back into my questions. If you would like to ask a question live, you can do that really easily. Just head along to ask.peter.tv. So ask.peter.tv, and that'll show up. I'm going to check now and see if any live questions have come through. Let me go to the most recent questions. Okay, this is interesting. I can't actually see when they were asked, but that's okay. Maybe I can see it in another view. I'm going to open that up in another tab. Bear with me for one moment. Recent. 23 minutes ago. Okay, cool. So this is definitely one to answer. Somebody on the call. Okay, so can Chrome Remote Desktop be used as an administrative support tool? Can it be deployed? That's a wonderful question. I'm not sure if it can be deployed by MSI or by group policy deployment. But what I do know is that it's okay as a remote support tool. I wouldn't say it's amazing. It's okay as a remote support tool. It's great when you're using Chrome devices because effectively they've pretty much got things built in. And if you're using a Chromebox or a Chromebook, you can get a number of analytics and data in your Google admin panel from Google directly. And so if you've got, and I'll show you what that looks like in the admin panel at the moment, if you've got device management licenses set up on Chrome devices, well, then you've got a whole bunch of data that actually comes through onto your account, and you can automatically see and have basic access to devices right from the Google admin panel. Can you do the same thing with Windows machines or Mac machines in your business? It's not quite the same. You can certainly deploy Chrome, but my understanding is that you still have to have some user interaction anytime you want to provide support for someone. And so you're going to have to get a code from them or permission from them to be able to connect to their machine. But what I can at least show you here, I don't have any Windows or Mac machines that I can control from the admin panel. I certainly have machines that I have manually added to my own Chrome Remote Desktop, but as you'll be able to see here, it's a bit of a manual process. But anyway, let's jump in here and I'll show you a demo of what it looks like. So if I go to Remote, Chrome Remote Desktop, and I'll open this up. So this is more so, I would say, really a consumer level service. I don't have any on this account, but let me switch to my personal account. Here we go. So you can see I've got a number of different machines that I've saved to my account. Now, there's no way to share this with other people in my business. So, if I was on an IT team and I wanted to share access to these computers to someone else, I can't do that. I'm the only one who can basically log in and get access to them, which is a bit of a bummer. I'm going to go ahead and log into this one, it just asks me for a code. I can choose to remember the code if I like. But here we go. I've logged into the computer. Now the performance here is fantastic. I really like Chrome Remote Desktop. I use it often, but it's not so much an IT management tool as much as it is more a personal consumer level remote desktop screen sharing tool. It's excellent though if you're in a business and you don't mind, if you were to set it up on each person's computer. If you don't mind, getting a code from each person every time you need to provide support, works pretty well for that. It's just not really the level of sophistication of team-based unattended access. If you, say, had an IT team of 5 people doing support for a couple of hundred people, it's not quite going to work in that scenario because you can't do things like share logins. And there's plenty of other tools out there that will do a better job. But let me show you what you can see if, for example, you're managing a Chrome device. Let's go into my Chrome devices here, and it'll show me any Chromebooks or Chrome boxes that are connected to my account. So let's try and find one that's maybe logged in. Have we got any that have been used recently? Here we go. Okay, cool. So that's probably Scott's machine. So I can go ahead and log into the machine. It's going to give me lots of information on, where it's at, when was the last time it logged in. Looks like it was a couple of days ago here. We do have a remote desktop button, so I can click the remote desktop. My understanding is, I haven't done this one for a while, but my understanding is that it does prompt the user to accept that, so it's not a full unattended access. So I would say that this feature is useful if you're using Chrome devices, but for Windows machines or Macs, which you probably want to have access to remote control, it's not really an enterprise level remote desktop solution. But used on a small scale, in a small business, fantastic. Used occasionally, fantastic. As a scaled solution, not so great, but if you just wanted to do the basics, like deploying some Chromebooks to staff out on the road, and you need to remote access your staff Chromebooks, excellent. It's already built in. Click one button, and you're right into being able to support them. But I would consider other tools if you have a very large rollout and a mix of different operating systems. Great question, though. Thanks very much for that question. That is that's a good one. All right, let me mark that one as done and see if any other live questions have come through. Wonderful, cool. DJ, hello from the USA. Have been watching the channel for about 2 years. Fantastic. Okay, hello from Panama, Jose. About 2 years following the channel. Keep it up. Excellent. Thanks, guys. Well, I've launched a couple of other channels. If you head to peter.tv, just without the ask on the front, peter.tv, you'll see I've got a couple of other channels. One is on entrepreneurship, and there's also Moriarty Uncut, which is me vlogging, traveling, snippets from coaching calls that I do with business owners. And so, yeah, if you want to check out my other channels, I've got 2 other channels there. But we've actually decided to double down on this channel. We would like to have our message and our support reach more people. So if you'd love, if you want to tell me like what kind of videos you want to see on the channel, what kind of things you'd like us to cover, you can drop them in the comments here, and I'll pass those on to our creative director. I actually have a creative director now. How about that? We've got an amazing team helping support to share as much as we can to support small business owners on the channel with tech. So if you've got a video request, or even just a theme of different things that you'd like me to cover. If you want me to cover, more Google News, or I don't know, if you want me to live react to articles on TechCrunch, if you've got some ideas for some stuff for us to create, let us know, because this is basically my full-time job now, is content creation. So very happy to help you out with whatever you want to know. However I can be of service, let me know. And if you're new around here, or if you don't know, or if you haven't been watching, Moriarty Uncut or any of the other channels, I basically semi-retired when I was 27, and so the business had grown enough that I don't really need to work anymore. I'm currently traveling. If you saw my little green screen there, there's no hiding that. Where am I? I've got to open up my my scenes here. Cool. So I'm actually traveling in a camper truck right now, and so this is what that looks like. I can switch to my other camera here. So the green screen makes it look like I'm in an office, not to trick anyone, but just because it's a bit more visually pleasing. My only job now really is content creation for this channel. So if you have stuff that you'd like me to create for the channel and I can help more people with that, please let me know, because this is my only job now, is creating videos for YouTube. All right, we've got lots of questions coming through. Okay. Oh, Adrian, all right, I'll answer that one very quickly. Cool. So what do you use for PDF editing in Chrome OS? Good question. I don't personally do any PDF editing in Chrome OS. I've never really answered this on the channel. I think we made one video. I'm not sure. I think we may have made one video. So if you search the channel for PDF, let me do that now. I'm going to see whether or not we've actually created one. I'm not sure. But oops, no, wrong channel. All right, PDF. I'm not sure if we actually published it or not. No, I don't think we did. I don't remember what our recommendation was. We went to our team and they found a recommendation. I can probably find it in my Asana here, so let me do that. But I don't actually edit any PDFs, so I haven't been able to speak on authority on that. I try as much as possible to only speak on that which I have experience on. PDF. Let me see if I can find that video. On the create board. So here's one of the cool features of Asana, and I'll share this for you. So I'm in Asana, and we've basically got every single video that we plan to create here on one big board, right? So we've got raw content ideas, we've got ideas that are in development. They go through a number of different reviews with the team, and then they sit in my review bucket. And if I'm happy with them, then I put them into production. So you can see here, this is the one that's being recorded today, is the community Q&A live. Then when I'm done, I'm going to drag that into recorded, and it's going to go and change a bunch of fields. It's going to run some automations, add it to a new project, all those kind of things. But let's say I want to search for, I know there was a video idea in here for PDF, and I can say, right, look for those that are in this create project, and let's go search, see what it shows. Let's see what I can find. Oh wow, that's very interesting. I swear we had a PDF video. Okay, well maybe it's in the produce project. All right, that is bizarre. So it must have disappeared. Anyway, I'll put that on the video request list for you, and we'll come back to you on that. I know that Chrome has the basics of PDF editing built in, so that would be one option for you, is to just use the Chrome editor. I believe Adobe now runs in the web. I don't know for sure, but I would look at that as an option as well. But good question. Okay, cool. Let's get through some more questions here. All right. Cool. Adrian, best practices for user offboarding practices. I've covered that a number of times. Let me just search the channel, see if I can find it. Yeah, cool. There is a video here, so I won't go through that one again, but I'll link the video. I'll link the video for you because I've already covered that one. So let me link that in for you. Check that one out. And if you've got any more questions about that, then you can certainly check out one of our boot camps. So if you're interested in joining a boot camp, you need to be a concierge customer. But basically in the boot camps, we take you through all of our processes for Google Workspace, and they're designed to help you get up to speed as an administrator and as a business owner, well, business owner or administrator. The idea there is we want you to know how to do all the basics. We don't want you to necessarily do them yourself. We want you to know what the strategy is, and then the actual implementation, you want to delegate that to a team member or delegate that to our team. If you're a concierge customer, that's a service where we just do things for you. So think of it like a technology virtual assistant service, but our team are highly skilled in the IT world. So if you're interested in that or coming along to a boot camp, we've got some more in-depth training on onboarding and offboarding, but that video that I just shared in the chat is that gives you an overview. Okay, next question. Can you merge two email addresses? More context. I'm changing the name of the business after 12 years. I want to change my email account to the new email address and have the old one set up as an alias. Great question, Sarah. So we cover this a lot on the channel. If you search for like changing brand or multiple domains, you'll find lots of videos on it. But I would like to cover this for you again, just to make sure that it makes sense for you. So let me jump into my screen here. So if you're looking to change an email address and you're rebranding your business and you're looking to switch domain names inside Google Workspace, the easiest way to do that is to go straight into the admin panel. Inside the admin panel, we want to go to our domains. So you first go to the account menu and then to domains. And you'll see here, oops, we want to go to manage domains. And what that gives us is a list of all the different domains. Now, let's say, as an example, I want to add a new domain for my new brand. I would go ahead and add the new domain. And if I want to be able to change that to the primary domain at some point in the future, then I would choose secondary domain option here rather than user alias domain. That's important. Okay, cool. So you would add it, and you can see here I've got a number of different domains here. So we've got .asia. That one is set up as an alias domain right now. .com.au also set up as an alias domain. But .co.uk is set up as a secondary domain. So that one's ready for me to change into my new brand. Now, I can click the Change Primary Domain button. Okay, I don't know why it's saying I can't. Maybe because I'm a partner. But usually you can just click one button and change your primary domain. And that will allow you to switch into one of your secondary domains. Now, a word of warning when you do this. Some things, let me switch back to my camera. A word of warning when you do this. Some things may not work properly temporarily, and some things may not work properly for longer periods of time when you change this. It changes a number of back-end things in your Google account, and so my recommendation for this is if you want to change your primary domain, you head along to IT Genius and you have our team facilitate this for you. It costs you a couple $100 for a product we call a quick fix. It's a one-time fee, a couple $100. And we will manage this process for you. We will make sure from start to finish that everything has been managed effectively for your transition, just to make sure nothing goes wrong. Because sometimes you may lose access to files, you may lose access to accounts. If something goes wrong, it can be a bit of a challenge to undo and get back into your account if you maybe get stuck somewhere. And so you want to be really careful with this process. And my strong recommendation is that you get third-party support and third-party help from a professional. But if you want to have a go yourself and you're ready to rock and roll, that's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to switch into the secondary domain, and what's going to immediately happen there is your users are going to change. And so in your user accounts, I'm going to go into my accounts here. Where is my directory? And then users. Here for each person, may as well open up myself. By default, I'm going to have my own email address, obviously. Oh, wow, this is taking its time. Let's wait a moment while it does that. All right. So by default, I'm going to have my primary email address. And from there, I'm going to have a number of aliases that I've set up that all work on my primary domain name. Also, I will have any other domain names that have been created, like itgenius.com.au, like itgenius.asia, which are going to work for all of these email addresses. It used to list them there, and I can't see where it's listed them, but usually it would actually list these alias domains and additional domains there as well. Let me try add alternative. Oh, here we go. Show all alternative emails. There we go. So you can see .com.au works as well. Now, if I was to change the domain name for the whole account, right? If I went to manage domains and I changed the domain name for my whole account to itgenius.co.uk using the change primary domain feature, what would happen is Peter's primary email would become peter@itgenius.co.uk, and automatically I would receive the itgenius.com, my old brand, my old domain name. Automatically that would be added as an alternative email, and it would show up here in this list of alternative emails, and I could modify it. I could choose to have it or to not have it, and that would actually show up there. So Google does that automatically. They make the brand change very, very easy. The challenge is that many people will start this process and they sign up for a fresh Google Workspace account with the new brand. And so what happens is they end up with two separate Google Workspace accounts. They've got the old brand and they've got the new brand, and then all of a sudden you have two mailboxes and two separate Workspace accounts. You can't, unfortunately, bring them together or merge them with one button. What you need to do is actually run a migration. You need to migrate probably from the new one into the old one is the easiest, because there would be less data in the new one. But you have to bring those two accounts together. And when you bring those two accounts together, then you can put these domains together. Now, if you're stuck in that mess and you've got two different accounts, you're probably best to chat to our consulting team. There'll be a link down below this video. You can book in a free consultation and a team will give you a quote on what it looks like to manage that process of migrating those and adding them in together. Bit of a pain to do it because you've got to get the timing right with DNS settings so you don't lose any email or get bounce backs, and it gets a bit technical and a bit fiddly to make sure the process is perfect. If you want some help with that, jump on the link below. Our team will be very happy to help you. Okay, but great question. Rebranding is something that lots of businesses do quite often, and we do these all day long. Every week, we are helping people with their brand changes and migrations. Okay, good question. All right, Dave, thank you for joining. Okay, cool. I'm a new startup setting up everything from scratch. At the same time, I want to clean up my old systems and roll them into a new setup with you. Okay, wonderful, cool. Yep, that would be best to jump on to IT Genius, jump onto Concierge, just have a chat with them. They do a free consultation. Just let them know everything in your digital world. Let them know what CRMs, if you're running any customer database or customer management system. Show them your Google Drive. If it's clean, if it's messy, doesn't matter. No judgment. We'll help you if you need help with permissions or setting up security structure or anything else. If you need any support, just planning out, setting up domain names or brands or different users, our team will help you with that. If you need support to help achieve a particular objective, like finding the right plugin or finding the right app to solve a business challenge or a business problem in your business, our team are there to help. So jump on a consultation, click on the link down below this video, and you will find them there. All right, wonderful. I'm going to go and see if there are any other. Okay, cool. Ryan has a question. Can we cross-reference files? For example, can we add hashtags? So I'm assuming, Ryan, you mean in a Google Doc, and I'm going to assume that you're talking about linking between different Google Docs. Now, you can definitely do that. Let me show you what that looks like. Google have created a new feature, and that feature, let me open up a document. The shortcut to open a document is doc.new, if you didn't know that. You can also do sheet.new and slide.new. Okay, so here we have our document, and in this document, I can type away and start creating my document like a normal person. But if I want to link something, just like Facebook or Instagram or most other apps, Twitter as well, I guess, or X, formerly known as Twitter, I can hit the @ button, and here we go. Look at this. There is this new feature called Smart Chips, and Smart Chips let me start to create rich data inside my document. And one of those things that I can do is I can actually mention another file and it will link to another file, which is pretty cool. Now, personally, I don't create many documents myself, so I haven't tested this, but let's have a go and let's test it out. So it's given me some suggestions there. We've got transcript from a board meeting. We've got penetration testing. Okay, we can probably try. I wonder if we have a script. Let's do a video script. That's probably a bit safer. Okay, cool. Here we go. Webinar promo video script. Okay, I'm going to click onto that. Okay, so it's linked a document in here into the file, and I can click that, and it's obviously going to give me an opportunity to open the document. I can even open a preview. Isn't that cool? I can just kind of like hover over it and open a preview. Very groovy. What my curiosity, though, is if I open the second document, is it going to show me where it's linked back to the primary document. I don't know about that. No, it doesn't appear to show me. Maybe it shows me somewhere, but it doesn't appear to be very obvious here. Anyway, so that's how you link a document in a file. Hope that one has been useful. Great question. I would recommend you check out Smart Chips. They're pretty damn cool. I do use them in spreadsheets if I want to create things like a drop-down and have rich data inside that drop-down. Very useful for that. So that one is called Smart Chips if you want to look that up in the help guide. Okay, great question. All right, let me see if there's any other live questions. I love the live questions. I think I got through all of those. Just post it back in if I missed anything. All right, but I'm going to go back to our pre-recorded questions here. Where are they? All right. I have many businesses and I'm using separate Google Workspaces. How can I send and receive emails from one account, my primary account? Okay, that's a great question. So my recommendation would be to set up receiving and sending from a single Gmail account. You would call that your primary account. And from your alternative account, you would set up forwarding. And then from your primary account, you would also set up sending. Now, I'm going to share what this looks like on a Jamboard just to make it easier. I do like drawing. It's my Steiner education that brings it out of me. So I'm going to bring it up in my Jamboard here, and I'm going to draw it for you. So what this looks like, if we open up, and I'm just going to open up my document here. Bear with me one moment. Of course, now it's taking its time. I prepared this one earlier, and then my iPad went to sleep. Okay, so on the left-hand side here, I'm going to have business number one. And let's say it's, .com. It could also be just domain number one. And then I'm going to have over here business number two. And let's say that's .asia, right? Cool. And that's going to be business or mailbox number two. Now, I would recommend that you set one of those as your primary. You choose one of them to be your main or your primary mailbox. And for that reason, I'm going to go ahead and zoom in here so it's a bit easier to see. For that reason, as you don't want to have too many mailboxes. It's hard enough to manage one email address and one mailbox, let alone if you have multiple businesses or multiple brands. Managing multiple just turns into a complete mess. Now, I understand that many entrepreneurs are highly creative. Some are on neurodivergent spectrums where we probably don't just stay with one thing, and we probably want to jump towards, lots of different projects and, different businesses, and we end up with different email addresses here and there and different brands that we're attached to. I totally get it. But as much as possible, if you can filter them into one mailbox, it's going to make your life way easier because you're not constantly flipping and changing, which is very unproductive. And you won't feel that sense of overwhelm of having to jump between different places to check messages. It's already hard enough in our modern age to manage people messaging us on Facebook, probably on Instagram as well. We get text messages, we get phone calls, and then we have emails. Now, one mailbox is hard enough. We already have all of those channels that we have to manage. If you want to add multiple mailboxes or multiple brands into the mix, you're just going to make your life harder. So here's how we solve it. So you choose one of those to be your main mailbox, right? You choose one to be your main mailbox. And what I would then do is, and I made this a little bit confusing because I made number two the main mailbox, but that's fine. What we're going to do here is we're going to forward emails from this additional mailbox over to here, right? So an email comes in to the mailbox. An email comes in and it's going to be forwarded. It's going to be forwarded over to the main mailbox. Now, how does forwarding work? Well, we do that inside our Google settings. So you go to your Gmail inbox on the account that you wish to forward from. So that's this account here, the sending account. And we're going to go into our settings and we're going to forward. So you go to the forwarding menu. Now, if this doesn't work, you need to switch it on in the admin panel, but you go to the forwarding menu and you can see here, forward a copy of incoming mail to another mailbox. Now, you're going to add forwarding address and you're going to add your second email address and you're going to set it up so you forward a copy of everything. Now, my recommendation is that you leave a copy at least in the inbox. Maybe you would mark it as read, just in case you need to go back to it. You do have the option to archive it. Like if you just don't want to even see it in that extra mailbox, you can send it to the archive. If you are new to the Google ecosystem, the archive is basically the place where all of your emails go inside your mailbox after they've been moved out of the inbox. Now, the archive is not, it doesn't get deleted, right? It never disappears. The archive will always retain your emails, but it's basically the spot that you go to when you are done in the inbox, okay? Cool. So that's the first thing that you want to do there. If you go to your Gmail inbox and you can't see this menu, you can't see the option to forward emails, you may need to turn it on in the admin panel. So to do that, you would go to forward. I just search. Let me see here. Go to our Gmail settings and automatic forwarding. Okay, cool. So we have an option here to choose whether or not we allow people in our business to forward emails or not. And we want to make sure that that is switched to on, and then you get access to this forwarding menu. Okay, so we've done that. We've created the forward. And then the next thing that we want to do is we want to be able to send from this email address as well, right? But remember, we're using our main. That's the one that we're going to be logging into. So then we need to send the sending permission. We need to create sending permission to send from this email. So this is send from this email, and then it's going to send our little email message off and into the world. So what we need to do here is in our main mailbox, right? We're going to configure the send settings. So now imagine, we're in this main mailbox. From the top, we're going to go inside of our Gmail. We're going to go to our settings. We're going to go to see all settings, and that's where we're going to go to accounts menu and send mail as. Now, this is where you're going to add your alternative email account. You're going to set it up there. You will need to enter the settings like the password to be able to send from that account, but that's going to allow you to send from that mailbox. Now, when you type this in and it's an alternative account, and I was caught out by this earlier, you're going to have the SMTP username and password. But the challenge with this is you have to have SMTP sending switched on. Now, here's where I'm getting technical. You need to be allowed to send via SMTP, and that needs to be switched on for this second account. So this is called SMTP sending, right? You need to set that up or switch it on for the second account there. Okay, so how do we do that? Well, that's in the admin panel again. So let's search for SMTP. Oops. Helps if I can spell it correctly. All right. Allow per user outbound gateways. I believe this is the one. Okay, it's on the same screen. Allow users to send email through external SMTP server when configuring a from address outside your email address. Okay, that one needs to be switched on. But the second one, I believe, which also needs to be switched on, is this one here, POP and IMAP access. I believe that also needs to be set up. Now, there's a third thing that you need to do, and we're getting very technical here, but that's okay. There's a third thing that you need to do. You need to go to your account, and this is on the account that you're sending from here, SMTP sending, right? And you need to create a special username and password for sending, so you can be authorized to send, because you can't just use your Google password in this menu. Google no longer allows you to just use your Google password if you're authenticating with a mail sending app. So if you're setting up a printer in your office, if you're setting up a website to send emails via your account, you need to actually set up a special password to be able to do this. And that is in our account. So we're going to go, remember, we're going to the sending account to do this. And we're going to go to our account. So we just go to manage your Google account. And inside my Google account, I'm going to go to, I believe it's security. We are looking for, is it security keys? No. I've got a feeling it's two-step verification. Oh, and of course it's going to ask me to sign in again. And here's where we got caught earlier. See if it lets me in. Because what we need to set up is a special password for sending. All right, I don't know why, but this is asking me to completely reset my LastPass, which is a bit of a pain. See if I can brute force it again, because that did work last time. Okay, no, it's not working. I'm going to leave that. But Workspace, two-factor app-specific password. I'm going to show you what you actually need to do via a help guide, just so you're not lost at this point. Okay, oh, it's under signing into Google. Interesting. Let's see if we can find it. Yeah, I'm fairly certain it sits here under two-step verification, but let's just go into the password menu just in case. Okay, any of these are going to ask me to re-authenticate. That won't work. That's okay. Cool. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to create a dedicated app password, and the app password lets you have a individual generated password, which will work for when you configure an SMTP sending address. And you need to do that on this account here. Now, at the end of the day, when this is all set up, when this is all configured, an email, let's change this to a different color, an email will come in to this mailbox here. It will then be forwarded to your main mailbox. You'll read the email and you can respond to the email from your secondary mailbox, and then it's going to send it out, and this mailbox is going to send it on. And that's the whole system. So there you go. From start to finish, let me change my camera here. From start to finish, you have one main mailbox that you're using, two completely separate Workspace accounts. You've got emails coming in, passing through to the main mailbox. You're sending with a unique signature, with a unique email address. It's going back out. It's bouncing through the secondary account. So it's saved in the sent mail. You've got a copy of it in the secondary account as well, which is very handy. And then, poof, it's going out to the internet. Now, as long as you've got these settings correct and you follow these instructions, you are good to go. You've got two mailboxes, but one place to send and receive through either email address. All right, that was a long one. That's a nice, complex, techie one. I like that. Hopefully you enjoyed that as well. Hopefully that was useful. Okay, so AR plastic surgery. I've got 5 Business Plus licenses and I wanted another 8 basic licenses, possibly more. IT Genius said it's not possible. Rang Google Sales and they said it may be possible for some partners to be able to do this. Mixed licenses. Can you help? Yeah, good question. My only time that I've seen any business being granted mixed licenses is when they have hundreds and hundreds of employees. I don't know what the official threshold is because I don't think Google gives an official threshold, but I've never seen it granted for anyone under 100 employees. So if Google Sales told you that, my expectation is that they, I don't know, maybe the individual sales rep may have been uninformed. If it's the outsourced support desk, not everybody knows exactly what's possible. I highly, 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 highly doubt it is possible to have split licensing on an account less than 100 employees. If it is possible, please email me directly, peter@itgenius.com, and tell me who did that for you, whether that is a partner or Google themselves, because I just don't think it's possible. We've been doing this a very, very long time, and we've never had that granted in 15 years of being a Google partner. So I highly doubt that is possible. But if it is possible, I'd love to know, and I'll make a video about it too. Okay, I'm sorry to burst your bubble there, but I don't think it's possible at all. All right, let's move on back to our questions. Okay, I'm going to hit that. Okay, let's go to popular questions. See what we've got here. Oh well, here's an interesting question. So this person asks, I currently have 58 users. I need to increase that to around 150. Is there any way to cut costs so I don't have to pay $12 per user? Yes, potentially. If you are a large business and you have more than 100 users, you can potentially get access to split pricing. There are a number of different, they're called SKUs, but a number of different pricing plans for Google Workspace. One of those is an archived user plan. So when you have staff leave your business, you can have a user designated as an archived user. They can no longer log into that account, but it retains their data. My personal preference is to not bother using this because we have an offboarding and a migration process which migrates old employees' data into a centralized account. Check out our offboarding video on how to do that. But if you're interested in, let's say, building a large team and you have maybe people out on the road who need access to a mailbox and chat, but nothing else, or maybe they just need access to an identity and one tool, but they don't need the whole suite of the Google ecosystem. Well, there are some other SKUs. One is called, I think it's a field worker SKU. I probably got that wrong, but it's effectively a cut down version of Google Workspace. They don't get access to absolutely everything, but they still get to live inside your domain, and it's at a significant discount as well. So if you're looking to build a larger team and you're looking for different SKUs or different levels of licensing, get in touch with either a Google partner or Google Direct. We can certainly help facilitate that process for you. If you're interested in working with IT Genius, click on the link down below and book a free consultation. You can chat to our team and they'll help you out to look at what options might be available for your business. Great question. Okay. All right. Is the Facebook group still active? I tried to join up there. It is not currently moderated by us actively, but it is certainly still active. And we do have plans to reactivate it. If you're looking for a place for free support, we have a Facebook group. You can click on the link down below this video. That should take you straight to our links page, and there is a community group link there. Free Facebook group to ask questions about Google Workspace. All right. Okay, what have we got here? All right, I have my my Gmail account isn't sending or receiving emails. I've tried everything on your YouTube videos and it all seems to be correct, but it's not working. Contact our team. That's the easiest way to go. So we have a product called Quick Fix. Quick Fix, and that's basically for stuff like this. If you've messed up your DNS records, if you need to like archive one account, if you need to just like change one setting in your admin panel and you don't know where it is, if you don't want to sign up for a concierge plan, because they are annual, obviously, recurring, subscription. If you just want one thing done, you can jump on to this product. It's like 295 Australian dollars, so very, very cheap, since it's in dollary dues right now. If you're in the US, it's going to be very cheap conversion for you. But you click the Get Started button, and yeah, there you go. You're off. You can check out online, and as long as our team are in business hours, which is US or Australian business hours, Monday to, I think we may do Saturday now, you can get that one thing fixed, and our team are on hand to get that sorted out same day in most cases. So jump onto a Quick Fix if you just need help with something small, then that product is there for you. All right, good question. I'm going to mark that one as complete. I'm interested in your views on Metronomics by Shannon Susko. Never heard of it. Let me go ahead and Google that. Okay, looks like a coaching framework of some sort. Okay, I'm going to check that out later. Maybe do a live reaction to it. Okay. Is there a way to choose on a particular folder to specifically select who can see it despite inherent permissions above, or a way to set permissions on the user profile? Good question. Google's permissions are not quite as sophisticated as, to get technical here, Linux-based permissions or Windows-based permissions. If you use another operating system, you may be used to being able to block certain users from a particular folder via basically a disallow or a negative permission on that folder. You can't do that in Google, unfortunately, on a subfolder. You can set a shared folder at the top level, right at the top of the tree, and with that you can choose who can access it and by default who therefore can't access it. But you can't go into subfolder after subfolder and choose who can't access a certain subfolder. Now, Google gives you some really, really cool permissions that live at that shared folder level that let you actually lock down those folders. And my strong recommendation is that you just choose smart shared folders and the right group-based permissions, and you don't bother about using permissions on subfolders outside of the parent of the tree. The reason for that is it gets pretty complicated pretty quickly. The maintenance and upkeep becomes a pain. Someone has to be responsible for managing all of that. And from time to time, accidents can happen. You accidentally share one subfolder and it goes to the wrong person. My personal opinion is that just keep it simple. Have a good upper level, have a good top level of permissions, and then everything else just, kind of like falls into line under that. That's my philosophy. If you're interested in that, I'll show you a bit more about what that looks like. Now, one of the advantages of using shared drives inside Google Drive is you can pretty much create as many as you like. I think the limit inside a Workspace account is in the thousands or possibly even 10,000 shared drives that you can create. So you're probably not going to run out of shared drives. I don't think you should go too crazy with having hundreds and hundreds, but if you wanted to have one shared drive for each one of your customers and have that customer collaborate with you in that shared drive, by all means, spin up a shared drive per customer. It's a great way of doing it and locking down permissions. Now, you'll notice here that when we share shared drives, we very seldom share them with individual people. They're mostly based on group-based permissions. And if you're interested in learning more about how to set up the group-based permissions and then how to apply them to shared drives, I've got a great tutorial on the channel showing you how to do that right from step one all the way through to getting it fully completed. But that's not what I want to show you right now. What I want to show you right now is what some of the advanced security features and permissions are available on your individual shared folders. And on those individual shared folders, sorry, I've got someone interrupting my camera. On those individual shared folders, we have the ability to lock down. I've got someone else in the studio with me, just jumping into the camera. We've got a little impromptu visit. They're just dying off camera right now. All right, so that's what happens when you're live. If you haven't noticed the flies going on and off the camera from time to time, that's because we're actually in the outback. We're in the Australian outback right now, and we didn't clear all the flies out of the truck before we started recording. Anyway, I'll just let me compose myself. I'll have a drink of water here and we'll keep going. All right, so let's take a look at some of the options. Too funny. Let's take a look at some of the options that we have available here for our shared drive. So if I right click on a shared drive, we've got the member management, which is the top level of permissions that I can change at any time, right? So I'm going to click onto the member management here, and that's where I set my groups to have certain levels of access to the shared drive. That's pretty straightforward. I've got a number of tutorials on that on the channel already. But the second thing that we get to do with a shared drive, which is very cool, is we can go to shared drive settings, which you may not know are there. It's a bit of an obscure option there. You've got to right click to find it. But shared drive settings will bring up a number of interesting additional settings that we can set on the per shared drive level. So this is on the parent level of the shared drive. So we can click this button or unclick this button to allow someone to access and I'm not going to click it right now because it'll change the setting, to access files if they're in or out of my organization. If I want to lock down a certain shared drive so that only people in my organization can access it, well, I can untick this button and it's going to disallow anyone outside the organization to access it. Very cool feature. I love that one. Next up, allow people who aren't shared drive members to access files. So by default, when you have a shared drive, if you have a file or a folder within the shared drive, you can individually share that out of the shared drive if you want. So by default, the shared drive is shared to a certain group of people, and then the individual files within it can be shared out. But if you don't want that, if you want to lock down your permissions, so only those who you've defined at the very top level, well, you can untick this, and that will lock that down as well. Now, that's great for a training drive. That's great for anything that's got your intellectual property. That's great for a finance drive. That's great for executive documents, anything you want to lock down. Marketing, I leave this one open. I leave these buttons ticked here because I want to be able to share this with people outside the company from time to time. Maybe I share a webinar and I want to share just the slide deck publicly. Well, I can choose to share an individual file outside of the business. So that's why I leave this one ticked for this particular shared drive. Okay, role permissions. Allow content managers to share folders. That's a more specific one. A content manager is someone who has the ability to add, remove, delete files. It's basically saying, do you want to allow them to change the permissions on a folder to share it externally? And then finally, I love this feature. You can lock down the ability to download, print, or copy files. This one is really great to switch on for your training folder. So let me go and find our training folder. Here we go, right click, shared drive settings. You'll see that these two down below here are unticked. Viewers, commenters are not allowed to download, print, or copy files. Now, it's not going to stop somebody from taking a screenshot on their computer. You can't stop that, right? But it will slow them down if they're trying to rip off your business and steal every single file that you have. So back to the question at hand here, how should I use shared drives? Can I lock down certain files within a shared drive? My strong philosophy is this. Just set up a shared drive for each different area of your business, and I've got a training video on the channel for how to do that. And then you set up the correct permissions based on groups for each area of the business. And then you don't really have to bother locking down certain files or certain folders in the subfolder structure of those that you've got set up. So I probably wouldn't bother with that. That's my recommendation there. Okay, next question. Do we have any more questions? No, we don't. All right, cool. I'm going to see if I want to do one more. My energy is getting a little bit low, so we're going to wrap it up soon. It's been about 90 minutes. Okay, let's see what else I have in my questions. If you've got a question, you've got 10 seconds to send it before I choose one from the pile. That's if you're on the live. Thanks so much for joining on the live, by the way. I love having you guys live here. Makes it much more interesting and much more engaging for me. All right, what do we got here? Oh, here we go. Okay, I live in the UK. Can I get support? Yes, you certainly can. We've got a handful of customers in Europe, but we don't officially support the time zone just yet. Meaning, if you're happy to work with us, it might be an early morning for you or a very, very late evening. You can certainly work with us, that's fine, but we primarily work in Australian and US business hours. So you're going to have to work around that. We will absolutely take your business if you have that in mind. It's not going to work for you if you want to be able to send something in the morning and have us sort it out for you by the afternoon, because European time zones, our team knock off at 6 p.m. Australian time, and then they don't start again until US hours roll around. And primarily, we're working the west coast of the US. We do have some staff covering all the way to the east coast hours, Eastern time, but no, not so much. Primarily, we're working west coast and central. So there we go. Great question. Thank you. We have customers all over the world in every time zone. But just be mindful of, I guess, what the responsiveness of our team is going to be able to be based on that. Okay, cool. I think I'm going to wrap there, guys. Thanks so much for joining. I will be doing more lives and more lives on the road. If you're on the live, thank you so much for joining. Wonderful to have you here. If you haven't yet had a free consultation with IT Genius, go ahead and grab a consultation with them. Our team are there, ready to help you out, and happy to support your business. And, for anything you need, if it's in the Google ecosystem, if it's in the small business tech ecosystem, we are probably yeah, probably able to help you out. If you want to roll out a CRM system, if you want to clean up your Google Drive, if you want to have us implement shared drives and your security groups and settings and maintain it and do all those things. Our team do that every day of the week for businesses all over the world. If you're on the channel and you want to give us some love, we'd love you to send us a Google review. You can go and find us if you want, or just share this video with someone that you think might be useful. Share the channel. Tell a business owner, tell an entrepreneur who you think might benefit from our channel. We'd love to share this message with more people, and we are in business to help support small business owners. Our mission is literally help small business play a bigger game. That's what we're here for. So if you're a business owner or a business leader or an executive or a manager or just a tech person in a business, we're here to help you learn more about this ecosystem and do your job better. So if we can help you with that, please let us know. All right. Make sure you follow along on socials. Head to peter.tv, www.peter.tv, and you can connect with me on Instagram, on Facebook, and all those kind of things. If you want to drop me a DM and say hi, you're very welcome to do that. And yeah, thanks so much for joining the live. All right, we have one question that's come through. Skincare and beauty with Perky Perkins. Thank you for joining. Do you have any advice on how to regain access to my business email? Okay. We can probably help with that. I'd have a chat to our team and ask them about, so jump onto the quick fix service and then ask our team about an account recovery. If you still have access to your domain name, we can get into 99.9% of accounts. So if you still have your domain name registered and you still own that, you should be able to get access to it. You said I discounted your domain. I hope that means you didn't like deregister it or lose access to your domain. If you've lost access to your domain, you might be stuck. Yeah, we'll hopefully be able to help you with that. Okay, cool. Thanks so much for joining. I'll see you in the next one. Pete Moriarty out, and make sure you're followed, subscribed, give this one a thumbs up, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.